FNCS is officially back. We just had the play-ins round where the top 150 teams qualified for heats, and spoiler, not every big duo made it. We had Mongraal not qualify, having been dropped by Turtle 2 days before the competition started. Queasy didn't make it, neither did Merstach. I'll go over all the big duos that didn't qualify, as well as all the teams that did make it. Let's get straight into it. So Mongraal hasn't made FNCS heats, and honestly, it's not entirely his fault. Getting dropped just 2 days out from the competition starting by Turtle was absolutely brutal. It's very hard to account for that, and it definitely put him in a really precarious situation because there weren't a lot of duo options available, especially since Mongraal was looking for someone who could IGL him. However, he definitely did fall on his feet because he picked up Ping. Now, Ping is someone who played at the last Globals. He was with Wox and Malabuka. He came second in an FNCS last year. Directly after Globals, he looked really good with Kiro. He has been a little bit quiet since, but make no mistake about it, the fact that he didn't have a teammate just days out from FNCS is insane. If you don't watch a lot of Fortnite outside of Mongraal and Mr. Savage, then let me make this clear to you. Ping is an insane pickup. The fact that Mongraal was able to play with him is nuts. And yes, they didn't have a lot of chemistry, they didn't have much prior experience. I mean, they literally spoke for the first time 30 minutes before play-in started, which is just crazy. But considering the situation, I'd say this is one of the best outcomes Mongraal could have had. And listen, it was looking okay on day one. They were actually inside the top 150. It was looking like they were on track to qualify, and then on day two, it just all fell apart. They only managed 194 points in 11 games. They weren't making end games, they were just struggling a lot, and it is a real shame that we won't be seeing Mongraal in heats. Perhaps if they were coached with a different strategy, if they had a more consistent drop spot, then it could have been different. But listen, with so little experience playing together, the fact that they got so close is pretty impressive. Definitely an unfortunate situation for Mongraal, having built up a lot of experience with Turtle over the past month or two, and then that all going to waste just days before FNCS. It's a tough one. Now, it's important to note that this isn't the end of the road entirely. We do still have the last chance qualifiers where 5 more duos can qualify, so Mongraal's journey isn't completely over yet, but it has to be said it's not looking great. Whether he's going to continue playing with Ping, I'm not 100% sure. To be completely honest, I do think Ping is just a level above Mongraal right now, and if he can find a slightly better teammate in the meantime, he probably will. So we'll have to see whether Mongraal chooses a different teammate. Maybe he goes back to play with Mixon as he didn't qualify with Combeck. That all remains to be seen. So I'm literally editing the video right now, and we have official confirmation that Mongraal will be playing with Predage. Now, this could be a really interesting duo. I'm literally going to speak about Predage in a minute because he also didn't qualify, but he is someone who is an IGL, who can lead, and that gives Mongraal a little bit more freedom to simply frag out, to follow instructions. I think this could be a really promising dynamic. Let's see how they get on in the next few weeks before LCQ. Queasy and Hris were another big team that failed to make heats, and I kind of saw this coming. Yes, Queasy is the global champion, but the last few months have been very tough for him. He's been bouncing between duos, not really placing that high. His best divisional cup placement in Chapter 7 was a 37th place. He hasn't made a single divisional cup outside of that one. It's just not been great for him lately. I'm actually going to do a full video, which might be out by the time you're watching this, about Queasy and about his struggles over the past few months, so I won't talk about them too much here. But the bottom line is that it was a pretty disappointing result. They did show some improvements on day 2. They were holding height a lot better, but on that first day they were dying a lot during rotations. They were struggling to retake height effectively. It just didn't go to plan for them. Merstach and Pixx also failed to make it, only managing a 341st finish. This might be one of the biggest false dawns I've seen in a while. They of course won the most recent divisional cup, having both really struggled in the months prior to that. It looked like they were back. It looked like they'd hit form at exactly the right time, but maybe that was just an outlier because they've just gone right back to how they were before, and they really did struggle. This does really go to show how quickly things can change in the Fortnite community. A lot of people were putting them inside their top 10 teams for an FNCS Grand Finals. I certainly felt that they could at least make the Summit LAN, and now they're not even in heats. Crazy turn of events. But listen, if you are a fan of any of the teams I've just discussed, once again, we do still have the LCQ. There are still 5 more duos that can make it outside of the heats, so it's not completely over yet. And in the past, we have seen big teams qualify out of that round. Vanya, Pixie and Marius, Fredoxy, Chino and Pablo Wingu. There is a history of solid teams making it it out, so who's to say that one of these duos can't do that. Now let's go over some of the other big names that did miss out. We had Turtle and Ziandi not qualify, and I'm sure there's a lot of Mongraal fans right now that will be delighted by that news. It was definitely a controversial decision for Turtle to drop Mongraal for Ziandi just 2 days out from FNCS, and it has not paid off. It does have to be said that they weren't too far off qualifying. They finished in 165th place. They had Shark and Teeny landing on them a bunch in that second day. Obviously Shark and Teeny getting a ton of points on day one, securing their qualification spot early, so they were able to just go out and grief on day two. Indeed, they only got 150 points the whole day. In Turtle and Ziandi's final game of the tournament, they got fought by Shark and Teeny, leading to Ziandi getting eliminated, and ultimately that spoiled the whole game for them. If Shark and Teeny didn't Q-snipe this team to get Wonky Land uncontested, I do genuinely believe they could have made it. But listen, this is a good silver lining for Mongraal fans, and I'm sure they'll be quite happy about it. Pradaj and Radeon missed out. This is definitely a shame, as Pradaj is someone who's looked really good over the past few months. He's been doing well in the Victory Cups. Yes, he gets a lot more seconds than he does wins, but he's still making it right to the end of games and looking good doing so. He was doing really well with Gonzo as well last season. He made 4 consecutive Divisional Cup finals with an average placement of 12.75 across those, his highest being in 11th. Honestly, he was looking so consistent. I do believe he then had a holiday. They didn't qualify for 1 Divisional Cup, and it all ended from there. Gonzo is now playing with Kaisers. They did qualify for heats, but I have to say that Pradaj being dropped did feel quite harsh. He played with Ankido for a bit, that didn't work out, so now he is with his compatriot Radeon, and they weren't able to make it work for them on the day. Ankido himself also didn't qualify. He picked up the deal, and they just didn't have the day that they would have wanted. It's probably fair to say that he hasn't been completely locked in on the game as of the past few months. After Globals ended, he played with Focus for a little bit and actually looked quite good with him, but that was only ever a temporary duo. Since then, the deal has been struggling, and we won't be seeing him in heats. We had Trulex and Chicho miss out, and honestly, this was not a surprise. These guys haven't really been qualifying for anything lately. They've just been so off it, only making 1 Divisional Cup finals out of the last 8, which is just not up to the standard we'd expect for them, and they finished outside of the top 500 in these play-ins. They were nowhere near qualifying. I don't know what's going on with these guys. It looks pretty clear to me that they should split, as they don't seem to be working as a duo in 2026. We've seen good performances from them in the past, but the last few months haven't been great. Albert and Flobby also didn't make heats. They had a queuing issue on day 1 and missed out by only 16 points. This is a shame, as Albert has been looking really good over the past few months. She is the best female player in the world by a mile, and I really felt like this could be the season she could make a grand finals and put herself on the map. So it's a shame that a situation out of her control has stopped her from qualifying, because had they not had that queuing issue, I'm sure they would have been able to get the extra points they needed. Before I discuss the top 10 teams and have a first look at the maps for heats, here's a list of all the big duos that did not make it. As you can see, there are a huge amount of teams. Because of the nature of EU, because of how big the region is and how competitive it is, there will always be a lot of notable duos that don't qualify. But as I've mentioned a couple of times already, we still have LCQ. It's not over for any of these teams. They could all still make comebacks. So here are the top 10 teams from play-ins. It is worth noting that a high finish isn't the be-all and end-all. A lot of teams got the 600 points that they needed to qualify, and then they focused on griefing other teams that were landing at their POIs in order to have them uncontested in heats. So you definitely had a couple of teams that could have finished a lot higher, but chose to prioritize playing tactically. But anyway, let's still give credit to the teams that did really well, and Focus and Thomas HD were deserved winners, finishing on over 1,000 points. They dominated the Asari on leaderboards too. You can see that Thomas had the most damage, Focus had the most eliminations. Incredible stuff from them. By no means have they been bad lately, but they haven't been challenging for the top positions in the last few Divisional Cups, so it's nice to see that this team is still in form. No shocks with the next 3 teams, Swizzy and Pixie, Chino and Pablo Wingu, and Sky and Scroll all qualifying. They will be some of the favourites to win FNCS. In 5th place we had Azatgo and iFrozy. These guys had a monumental comeback. They finished 1st on day 2 to secure the high qualification spot. Very impressive stuff from them. In 6th place we had Hutty and Fishy X, and these guys are proving that they are a team to be taken seriously. I think a lot of people will remember them for their comical off-spawn performance against Shark and Teeny, where they lost 6 times out of 6, finishing dead last on the leaderboard with without a single point. Their drops were terrible in that tournament. They looked unprepared, they looked unorganized. It was not a good showing. However, outside of that disaster, they are actually a solid team that deserve a lot of credit. Straight after Globals, they were looking really good. They went a bit quiet after. They did split for a bit. They are now officially back, and I could see them making grand finals. They are of that level. We've got Vico and Malabuka in 7th, no shocks there. Savage and Velo finishing in 8th place, proving that they are the real deal. It was a bit of a disappointing divisional cup placement for them the other day. They were only able to manage a 42nd place, but they have now proved that that result was a one-off. They do have a lot of quality. As I say in most of my videos, I really like the dynamic between these two. Savage is allowed to be the leader. He's allowed to express himself, to instill his ideas, whilst Velo is the support player that enables Savage to do that. I'm definitely expecting these guys to make grand finals. Could they make the Summit LAN? Could they finish inside the top 20 teams? Definitely on the cards. And rounding out the leaderboard, we had Zarbi and Finchick in 9th and Skyjump and Mumsy in 10th. Here's a list of some new duos that managed to qualify for finals. A lot of these teams formed just days before the event, so credit to the players for gelling so quickly and being able to adapt in such a short space of time. Now let's have a first look at all the maps for heats. I won't be doing my heats predictions today, those will come in future videos, but I do want to have a quick look and see what teams are in which heat. Heat 1 is looking absolutely stacked. You've got Focus and Thomas, Vico and Malabuka, Cami and Hari, Shark and Teeny, Yapko and Panzer. The list goes on and on. If you're not too familiar with the format, basically there will be 5 games in each heat. The 5 game winners all qualify, and the 10 most consistent teams outside of that also make it. So 15 out of 50 teams in each heat will qualify for grand finals. Heat 2 is where you'll find Mr. Savage and Velo. They are currently uncontested at the south side of Frigid Fortress. It remains to be seen as to whether that will actually be the case come the tournament. Heat 1 is this weekend, but Heats 2 and 3 are the weekend after, so there is a little bit of a wait. And as you can see, Heat 3 is very stacked too. You've got Chino and Pablo, Akira and Karama, Dom and Demus, Chap and Flixie, just to name a few teams. It looks like Sky and Scroll have the north side of Battlewood Boulevard uncontested for now, but there's a lot of teams on that south side. As I've mentioned in previous videos, when Sky and Scroll have a favourable off-spawn situation, they always do well, but it's when you get a lot of teams around them, when they get held in zone, when they get dragged into unnecessary fights, that's when things start to fall apart. Now listen, I don't think there's any world in which Sky and Scroll don't make grand finals. They are way too good to miss out, but a favourable off-spawn situation would go a long way for them. I'll be going over these heats in way more depth in future videos once the maps settle down a bit. Please subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with European Fortnite news. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.